This is a very, very bizarre story. El Al is the main international Israeli airline. And there was an El Al flight from JFK Airport here in New York City to Tel Aviv. And it was delayed a few days ago after some ultra-Orthodox Hasidic male passengers refused to sit next to women. One passenger described the entire experience as an 11-hour ordeal. Another told YNetNews.com that the plane was prevented from taking off because people stood in the aisles and refused to go forward. Another passenger said, quote, "Although everyone had tickets with seat numbers that they purchased in advance, they asked us to trade seats with them. They even offered to pay money since they cannot sit next to a woman. It was obvious that the plane won't take off as long as they keep standing in the aisles. The pilot pleaded with them to sit down at least for takeoff so that they could get going. They did. Immediately upon takeoff, a lot of these Hasidic Jews stood up, and it was just an absolute disaster. The aisles stuffed with passengers throughout the entire flight. El Al issued a statement saying they do everything they can to give their passengers the best possible service year-round. These days bring with them a peak in air traffic to Israel, presumably because of the New Year, Rosh Hashanah. What's really frustrating to me is that we know what the solution would have been. We saw it from a Hasidic guy a few months or a year ago. All of these guys should have wrapped themselves in plastic bags so that they were not technically next to women. Wouldn't that have been the solution?
I guess if it worked for flying over graveyards, it could work for this. I'm sure they could have used their imagination to come up with something, or somehow just come up with some ridiculous way to convince themselves that it's okay to sit next to women. Maybe just because they're wearing clothing. Who knows?
This is just complete and utter insanity. And my dad went to Israel a few years ago. He flew, I believe it was US Air. Former TV director Natan went to Israel last Tuesday. We'll talk about that more on the bonus show. He flew on United, and there were no such incidents. And I know many people also that have flown on El Al and not had this issue. I would say if you are purchasing any kind of good or service from a company like El Al or any company, you cannot use your religious beliefs to dictate how the business should operate. And unfortunately, increasingly, as we see in the United States, religiosity, here it's Christianity specifically, is being used and is expected to be used as a kind of arbiter or set of rules for how private business should operate. And unfortunately, it doesn't make any sense, and it must stop immediately.
Yeah. This type of thing is complete nonsense. It would be such a nightmare to be on this plane and have to be so inconvenienced because of this made-up nonsense that these people believe.